I'm really pleased to be able to introduce our next speaker, Steve Erikson. He is the Communications and Marketing Director for the Denver Regional Council of Governments. We've been working with Denver or DRCOG for a very long time, so we're really excited to hear about GoTober.
Well, hello everyone. Can you guys hear me okay?
You sound great.
Okay. Well, I'm still recovering from the choo-choo joke, so this is kind of an unfair place to have slotted me in, but that was pretty fun. Anyways, as Catherine mentioned, I'm Steve Erikson. I'm the Communications and Marketing Director at Denver Regional Council of Governments, or DRCOG, as we call it here in these parts. I also oversee our Way To Go program, which is our TDM program region-wide. So today, just quickly to go through the agenda, let's see, does it look like I have control here? Let me mouse click here again. Okay. Just quickly, want to give you guys kind of an overview of this really cool campaign. It's an employer campaign that we've been doing now for a few years. Talk about some of the key elements that make this successful. So the recruitment is obviously a key with employers and employees. The trip tracking and the scoring, these are all things that are facilitated by the awesome Right Amigos platform. And talk about how we do reporting, and then some of the lessons we've learned just in our third year of doing this. So let's just start with a bit of a background on Way To Go, though. So it's actually a regional partnership between DRCOG and 7 transportation management associations in the region. So between these 7 TMAs and DRCOG, we actually cover about a 9-county region, roughly 2.5 million people in our region, expected to grow to 4 million people by 2040. And we work cooperatively on community and employer outreach, and also on marketing and advertising. And our goal, obviously, being CMAQ funded, is to reduce traffic congestion and improve our air quality. And as we like to say at DRCOG, we make life better for the region's residents. So the way we do that is we offer real-life solutions, helping commuters save money, experience less stress, and save time so they can focus on the things they enjoy. So all of our services, obviously, are free of charge, and we're promoting all those things that most of the folks on this conference today would be interested in. So transit, van pooling, carpooling, biking, walking, telework, and alternative work schedules. Really anything other than, as you might guess, driving alone, discouraging single-occupant vehicle travel, which in the Denver region is at about 75% today. So what is GoTober? Well, we began in 2015, as I said, and so one of the things we know in this program is that when your employer supports commute options, you're much more likely yourself to try those options and to adopt those options. So a few years ago, we really started looking at developing an employer campaign that would take advantage of that knowledge. And by the way, in terms of return on investment, being good stewards of those federal dollars, we get our biggest bang for the buck on employer campaigns. So GoTober is a month-long employer commute challenge. It's designed to increase awareness and usage of smart commuting modes. So really what we do is we recruit large employers, usually 100 or more employees, to participate in the GoTober challenge. Companies compete against each other to see who can really realize the biggest mode shift during the month of October. What we do to facilitate that is really help them with a turnkey package of on-site marketing materials and messaging, really anything they would need to make this successful. So just quickly on the timeline, what you can see is a lot of the work we do ahead of October relates to employer recruitment. Again, it's really important for us to find the right employers. We conduct orientation sessions, and at those orientations, we deliver a bunch of marketing materials. You'll see some examples of some of the on-site materials that we use that are pretty cool. And then the most visible part of the campaign, obviously, is in the month of October, where that challenge is taking place. Employees are trying different commutes, tracking those trips, and kind of looking at the leaderboard every day. We have a lot of messaging and communications that goes on around this. And then we wrap things up in November, really with a congratulatory campaign, and I'll touch a little bit on some of what we do specifically with that campaign. In terms of recruitment, obviously a key element of this, we, as I said, rely a lot on our outreach people here at DRCOG in the Way To Go program, but also the outreach people with our TMA partners. So they just, by phone, by email, or in person, they're out there identifying the right employers and gaining a commitment from those employers to participate. Once we have the employer commitment, obviously, we then want to work to get as many employees within an organization to sign up and commit to doing this commute challenge during the month of October. And to the right of that slide, you'll just see sort of a landing page that we've designed to kind of help people walk through the ease of this process. So this is just an example of some of the promotional materials. So, a variety of clings and signage and banners. These are all installed in workplaces of the participating employers. In terms of trip tracking and registration, two really key aspects of this. I think we're one of the early adopters with Right Amigos. We've been working with you guys a long time, I think 4 years, and our platform is branded as mywaytogo.org. And again, we develop a landing page during this campaign that includes the leaderboard and some promotional messaging. And then, of course, as most of you are probably familiar with the platform itself, during the campaign, we're taking registrations where people can go to their dashboard, save their favorite trip, log those trips, and look for carpool and vanpool matches. And one of the things we did for the first time this year was use the Commute Tracker app, which I think was really successful. So again, one thing additional I want to say on the trip tracking is we not only want to encourage trial, but we want to encourage people to repeat that behavior. So in order to kind of qualify ultimately for some of the prizes, an individual employee has to track 8 trips. That's really 4 round trips during the month, and so that would be roughly 1 a week. What we know is that once we do that, if people are doing that on a somewhat regular basis, it can become habit, and that's really ultimately what we're looking for here. We're not just looking for a one-time trial and, and somebody has that experience and then moves right back into a single occupant vehicle. We want to get people used to it and comfortable with it, and our follow-up surveys definitely show that many of these people continue using alternate modes beyond October. This is not terribly important, getting a little bit into the weeds, but we do use an effort index. What we want to do is kind of level the playing field between large companies and small companies, and people that might, a lot of the urban companies would kind of maybe be closer to transit, have more transit options. So we've developed an effort index. The only reason we multiply by 1,000 is just to make the numbers a little bit easier to digest. But I mentioned we do a self-identification survey up front. We ask people how they're currently commuting, and then we do a follow-up survey afterwards in order to determine really what that mode shift has been. This is just an example of the leaderboard, and again, this would be on that GoTober landing page that I talked about. You can see the categories that we break folks down into, employers down into: neighborhood ninjas, suburban superheroes, transit troopers, and urban ultimates. One of the key aspects of this in terms of recruiting employers is we offer or provide $7,000 in paid media to the winning companies. So one winner in each of those 4 categories. This is an ad that we ran in the Denver Business Journal, and we did some digital stuff as well. And of course, we would support this with some earned media, press release, and those kinds of things as well. And so we really want to shine a spotlight on those companies that are doing the right things. Results. So this year we had 52 companies that participated, roughly 1,700 participants, logging almost 37,000 smart commutes during the month of October. So, and we kind of present this in a fun way and try to make it kind of real for the people that have participated. We share this obviously with all of our employers and the employees that participated in the challenge. But we've really been pleased with the results. They've grown significantly each year that we've been involved with this campaign. And one of the things we also know is that we have to make it fun. So you can see just a few examples of kind of what we're doing here. Upper left, that's just one of our orientation sessions here for employers, kind of giving them everything they need to get started. Upper right, you've got one of the tabling events where, again, this company has agreed that they're going to participate, and we're actually at this table recruiting people to sign up and giving them the tools they need to make it a success. one of our TMA partners, and some of the other promotional materials. One of the things I like best about this is, we're able to talk to some employers about preferred parking for those that carpool. To start with, we have more permanent signs as well, if this is something that sticks and people are interested in it. But those are the promotional materials used for the month. We also have one lucky winner if you've qualified with your 8 trips that receives an iPad. So here we are presenting an iPad to a lucky employee of, I believe it was City of Aurora. And because we are a dusty old cow town here in Denver, one of the things we're doing that's kind of fun is obviously promoting this socially and encouraging people to send in their images of their alternate commutes. This was one of the funner images we had. I'm not sure how we calculate the VMT with a horse ride, but we did have somebody that sent in a picture of their commute by horse. Some commute fashion pictures, and we'll just wrap it up with some lessons learned. Again, this is our 3rd year doing this, but we've, with registration, kind of continued to streamline that registration process. I'll say we've worked really, really closely with the developers at Right Amigos, and they've been really, really amenable and quick to respond to any requests we've made in that regard. Same thing with the trip tracking. I did mention we used the Commute Tracker app for the first time this year and had some success with that. In terms of the scoring, again, we've changed that up a little bit each year, and again, our goal is just to try to make it kind of an even playing field across different company sizes and across the region, I guess, to really encourage as much meaningful participation as we can. And really, in terms of reporting, and again, this is it sounds like this is just a big advertisement for Right Amigos, but we can pull basically any information that we need in order to report our results right out of the platform. We can calculate those VMT savings, the dollar savings, both at the individual employee and employer level, calories burned, those kinds of things with just a few simple clicks. So. Again, I think the main takeaway from this is we've really tried to each year just make it much, much easier both on employers and employees to participate, and that's led to success. So, and that's really it, and I'd be happy to take any questions.
Great, thanks, Steve. I've got a question here from Ross Pizer. Ross would like to know a little bit more information about this effort index and how you used it. And that's actually one of the things that I think is really interesting about your program as well, is the way that the effort index and the scoring work. So tell us just a little bit more about that.
Yeah, it's actually this is something we adapted from our summer bike to work day event where we have a business challenge, and that was always one of those things where sometimes large employers would have an advantage if you didn't have some sort of a formula to kind of level the playing field. For this particular campaign, and we'd be happy to, I think we put the formula on there, but the other thing we do in terms of those categories that's kind of interesting, Matt, is the breakdown is we actually look at our transit organization here is RTD. We look at their zones and determine how close you are to a zone because, again, the urban ultimates, and by the way, DRCOG finished second in this category, the urban ultimates are those that have a lot of transit options. So RTD's zones actually kind of help us break people into groups, and again, the idea is that everybody kind of has a fair shot from the get-go. What you'll see in terms of the dashboard is, we do our best to recruit the best employers, but they obviously put in sort of uneven effort in terms of the follow-through on things. So, but that's really it with the effort index.
Great, thanks for answering that. And I don't have any other questions on the line right now, but we've got just a minute or so left with Steve on the line. So if anybody has a question for Steve about DRCOG's GoTober program, just type that into the question box on the right-hand side. We also, if you want to see a little bit more in depth about the GoTober program, we had a crew from DRCOG join us a couple months ago for one of our Right Amigos Coffee Talks, which is one of our internal programs where we do webinars on best practices. I do have a question here from Chloe White. Chloe wants to know, would you be comfortable sharing your budget for this campaign?
I would. I think our budget is roughly $200,000. So that, we do work with an ad agency, and again, using CMAQ funding, that would probably not account for, I guess, some of the, I guess, some of the labor costs, particularly with our TMAs, although that would ultimately be invoiced, through CMAQ, but it's a couple $100,000 roughly.
And is all of that couple $100,000 all just specifically for marketing, or is some of that also for administration of the challenge as well?
Yeah, that would be almost exclusively marketing and promotions.
Okay, and so we've got one last question from Sonia. Oh, and Sonia is asking, where are the 52 businesses located? So are these specifically in like downtown Denver, or how large of an area are we talking about here?
Yeah, it's really spread across our 9 counties. So, I don't know that we even necessarily had a concentration even in downtown Denver. Again, by using our TMA partners, there's a map on our Way To Go website where you can sort of see where those folks are at. But they're spread pretty well across the region, as we would hope.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Steve, for sharing with us about Way To Go-tober. Obviously, it's a very cool program that's had a lot of great impact, and we're excited to see where it goes in the future.
Thanks, Matt, and just a quick thank you to Right Amigos for hosting this great event.